سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا وحبيبنا وسندنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Recite Durood Sharif, everyone. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين جاءوا من بعدهم يقولون ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. وقال رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم لا يدخل الجنة قتات أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. My dear respected honorable ulama kiram, hufadh kiram, brothers, elders and our beloved youth, As-Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, Jazakumullah. We all need that forgiveness, and I need it too. My respected ulama kiram, brothers and sisters, we begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who was there before existence of anything, and the one who will always be there, the awwal and the akhir, our nourisher, our provider, our sustainer, our guide. And we send salutations, salat and salam upon our beloved Master Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, through whose guidance, through whose teachings we are able to follow this pristine religion of Islam. We also thank Allah Ta'ala that He has given you and me the ability to come to the masjid. Yet there are people that are not fortunate enough, for whatever reason, to come to the masjid to perform their salah. Be it the Jumu'ah salah, be it any salah, be it even Eid salah. So we are thankful to Allah Ta'ala for all His ni'am, all His benefits and mercies and blessings that He has bestowed upon us. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us all as social creatures. We live with each other, and it is not of mankind's habit to be living totally on their own. We are social people, we require one another at different times for different things. We depend on one another for different things and at different times. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us through the actions of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam how we should live our lives, how we should behave with one another, how we should interact with one another, whether it is transactions, whether it is people that we are close to, whether it is our family members, whether it is our fellow colleagues at work, our employers or employees, whatever the case may be, including our neighbors and our communities, and how we should live. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has taught us this. Wa alaikum salam. Living with each other can be a source of blessing, and it can be a way of achieving a huge amount of reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the same time, on the other hand, it could be a means of destruction, a means of difficulty, and a means of hardship. Yeah? And together with that, we could also be a person ending up committing grave and huge sins. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know there are two types of rights that have been created. One is known as huququllah, rights of Allah, and the other is huququl ibad, the rights of mankind, the rights of people that are around us and that we meet up with. So what are the rights of Allah Ta'ala? We perform salah, we fast in the month of Ramadan, we go for hajj if possible to do so, and we carry out other good deeds which are only and solely for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and direct relation to Allah Ta'ala. For example, going for Umrah. When you go for Umrah, you're not benefiting anyone, but yourself. Today I want to cover two things. One is how can we safeguard our good deeds, and secondly, how we should be forgiving and how to forgive those who have done bad against us. Many a times we think that, you know what, I fulfill all the commands of Allah Ta'ala, I do all the good there, and that's good enough for me. That is sufficient. I read my 5 times salah, I read Quran, I make dhikr, I listen to talks of deen, I take part in other charitable actions. When it's a month of Ramadan, I fast. When it comes to Hajj, then I go for Hajj every single year, if you're fortunate enough to do so. But it doesn't stop there. Many a times we don't realize how we behave with people around us, how we behave with people, and the consequences of those actions of how we behave with people. We don't think about the hurt and distress we can cause to another person. And inshallah, we will look at, if time permits, how damaging these actions can be and how they can have serious consequences. Now, one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, a person says to Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam that, you know what, there is a so-and-so woman. What does she do? Taqumul layl, she stays up in ibadah in the night. Wa tasumul nahar, she fasts during the day. Wa taf'alu wa tasaddaq wa tu'dhi jiranaha bilisaniha. She does other good deeds, she gives out charity, but at the same time she causes difficulty to her neighbors. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam answered, and he says, La khayra fiha. There's no good in all of that, what she does. Performing your salah, fasting throughout the day, even if it's nafal fast, and standing the whole night making tahajjud salah. When you are causing difficulty to someone, to the extent that Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam said, Hiya min ahli nar, she is from the people of Jahannam. Allah ta'ala protect us. And many a times we don't think about the difficulties we cause to other people, and this could be as simple as how we park our vehicle. Sometimes we think, outside my house, I have the right to park there, and it is a narrow road that you live on, there's another car parked opposite, and now an emergency service needs to get through. Someone is very ill, or house is on fire, now they can't get through because the fire engine is huge. Causing that difficulty wipes out our good deeds, wipes out the positive and the benefits of carrying out good deeds. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, he was told that there's another woman. She just performs her 5 times salah. She gives some charity, small amount, not even a huge amount. And she doesn't cause any difficulty to anyone. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam then responded, Hiya min ahli al-Jannah. That this woman is from the people of Jannah. What is she doing? Small amount of charity, a little bit, what she could afford, she gave. Keeping up with the commandments and the obligations that we as mankind have towards Allah Ta'ala, and that is it. But not doing anything extra good, but at the same time not causing difficulty to other people. It is said that the wounds of a spear can heal, but the wounds of harsh words may stay forever and ever. So we have to be very careful. This piece of meat that is between our lips, that has no bone, can cause so much destruction, so much of hardship, so much of difficulty. And we need to protect ourselves from going into Jahannam by doing good deeds, by being mindful of how we speak to people, especially those who you may call subordinates, especially those that work under us, especially those that we have authority over, with love, with kindness. Allah Ta'ala tells us in the noble Quran, قُولُوا قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُمْ يَخْشَعُونَ. Speak to them with words of softness, so that they may become mindful, so that they may become fearful of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and the repercussions of doing something wrong. Many a times we look at the youth and we think that, look at these youth, they are useless. They're involved in drugs, they're involved in other addictions, they're getting up to this mischief, they're getting up to that sort of antisocial behavior, yet we are doing absolutely nothing to guide these youth. We're doing nothing to protect them from the harms that they're getting involved in, illa mashallah. Except a small handful of people may be doing this. You imagine and you think about it, that you sit and discuss with your friends, you know what, youth are getting up to some mischief. Yet you're discussing with a group of your mates that you grew up with, you went to school, uni with, and you play football every week. Or you play whatever sports it is every week. Why not get these youth involved? Say, come join us for football. You don't know them, they don't know you, but an opportunity to get them involved in doing something constructive with their time. Yeah? When we were small, when we were growing up, to play one game, for those of you that remember having the Commodores, computer Commodore, not the music group. How long did it used to take? You had to play the tape, press something on the computer, then it had to stop there, and then you had to do this, and then you could play one simple game. Yeah? Today, everything is instant access. Today you can play a game and be versing someone from different parts of the world. Yeah? And sometimes our youth get caught up in that. Then the parents complain, oh, my child is just stuck on the PlayStation. You give your child something, then they have to have some rules on how to utilize it. Yeah? If a person is extremely wealthy and they go buy a supercar for their child who's just got their driving license, then any sane person would say this is not a wise thing to do. Why? Because they've just got their license, they've got no experience. But if we give them the experience, give our youth the experience, give them the opportunity to flourish, wallahi al-azim, I promise you, you can't go wrong. And Abi Hurairah, Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala an, he mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, أَتَدْرُونَ مَنِ الْمُفْلِسِ. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, once sitting in the company of the Sahaba, he says, do you know who is poor? So the Sahaba, replied to Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, Al-Muflisu fina man la dirham wala lahu wala mata'. That a poor person, according to us, is that person who amongst us that has no dirhams, he doesn't have any wealth, he doesn't have anything. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, Innal muflis min ummati. Indeed, a poor person from my ummah, from my nation, يأتي يوم القيامة بصلاة وصيام وزكاة. A poor person is that person on the day of judgment that will come in front of me, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rather, and they will have salah, they will have zakat, they will have fasting that they have carried out throughout their lives. وَيَأْتِي قَدْ شَتَمَ هَذَا وَقَذَفَ هَذَا وَأَكَلَ مَالَ هَذَا وَسَفَكَ دَمَ هَذَا وَضَرَبَ هَذَا. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says that because he hurled abuses at other people, they brought difficulty, calumny against others, unlawfully consumed the wealth of other people, they unlawfully shed the blood of other people, they hit others. فَيُؤْتِي هَذَا مِنْ حَسَنَاتِهِ وَهَذَا مِنْ حَسَنَاتِهِ. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam will say that because of these wrongdoings of this person, his virtues will be given away to whoever he caused harm to. Imagine, you've lived your life reading salah every single day, mashallah, and so we should, because that's our responsibility to Allah. We have recited the noble Quran, we have given nafal, sadaqah, wajib, sadaqah, fard, sadaqah, whatever we have done, all these good deeds. And then on the day of judgment to be told that, sorry, but this difficulty you caused to that person, you stole something from that person, you encroached on someone's boundary, you underpaid someone, you caused this person that difficulty, all of your good deeds will now be dished out to all these people. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says, فَإِن فَنِيَتْ حَسَنَاتُهُ قَبْلَ أَن يُقَضَى مَا عَلَيْهِ. And then when it comes to a time where all his virtues, good deeds are now gone, all those years of salah and fasting and hajj and umrah and sadaqah and zakat, everything is now being given out to other people because of the difficulties we cause. Now we understand better that hadith that I mentioned at the beginning. That the woman is doing so much of good deeds, but she's going Jahannam. Why? Because all your good deeds have now been given away. They are now in the possession of those you've oppressed. those you harm, those you cause difficulty to, Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says, أُخِذَ مِنْ خَطَايَاهُمْ فَطُرِحَتْ عَلَيْهِ ثُمَّ تُرِحَ فِي النَّارِ. Allah Ta'ala protect us from this. Ameen. He says, then the other people's sins will be taken from them and given and thrown upon this person who had caused them these difficulties. And what will happen thereby, this person will be thrown into the hellfire. Allah Ta'ala protect us. Indeed, it is very dangerous that we behave like Muslims in certain things. But when it comes to rights of others, then we forget. When it comes to huququllah, we are fulfilling the rights of Allah Ta'ala. But when it comes to huququl ibad, the rights of others, then we forget what their rights are. And many a times we don't even know what their rights are because we have failed to educate ourselves. Many a times all our education is focused on how much money will I get out of it at the end. Failing to educate ourselves that if you live in a country where it is not a Muslim country like we do, what should our behavior be towards other Muslims first and foremost? Half the time we're too busy fighting one another for foolish things, for stupid things. We are jealous because someone has something better than us. Allahu Akbar, sometimes we're jealous just because someone has something, irrespective of what that value is. Then how are we going to behave? So many ahadith you will find. For example, al-Muslimu man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. A believer is who? Man salim al-Muslimuna, that other Muslims will be safeguarded min lisanihi wa yadihi, from the harms of the lisan, the tongue, and the wa yadihi, and his hands. How many Muslims do we backbite? How many Muslims do we swear at and use vulgar language, disrespectful way of speaking to people? And if we can't behave as an ummati in love and affection and kindness towards your fellow Muslim, how are you going to behave nicely to a person who doesn't have Islam, who potentially has the opportunity to come into Deen? Because they're going to look at you and say, Muslim, I don't want to be like this guy. He's a fraudster, he's a cheat. Yeah, he lies, he deceives. Yeah, he causes harm, he causes difficulty. And sometimes people will go on this extreme that, no, we must fight the kuffar. Bhai, were you there for Fajr Salah? No, I wasn't. Were you there for Isha Salah? No, I wasn't. When last you read your Fajr Salah in the masjid? Oh, last week Friday. But you want to go and fight jihad? Do you even know what jihad is? The word jihad starts with yourself. Fighting your nafs. Fighting your nafs. I'm not talking about going out and fighting anyone. As they say in Urdu, wo to dur ki baat hai. That's a very far away thing. We're far away from standing up for our religion if we are not going to look after and nourish iman within us. That is why you find that some people, a couple of weeks ago when there was all the trouble, all they were there for was fighting, to cause trouble, to cause a ruckus, to cause difficulty, to cause damage to property and person. Subhanallah. And what happened? The media picked it up. And they said, yeah, these Muslims have been terrorizing the Hindus of Leicester. Why? Because a couple of foolish guys thought it's a good idea, without reading the Quran, which tells you about respecting a place of worship, irrespective of their faith. They thought, let's pull the flag down and burn it. But the Muslims that were beaten up, all of that just got thrown out the window. That 19-year-old that was beaten up, another 18-year-old, I think it was, that was beaten up in Sparrow Park, all of that got thrown out of the window. And the media highlighted and portrayed us as Muslims, as the people who are terrorizing others. Allahu Akbar. They've highlighted it. Until today, please correct me if I am wrong, have you heard any statement from any Hindu organization or preacher? Please tell me if you have, because I want to know about this and I can feed this back to the relevant people. Have you heard any Hindu preacher who said that RSS is a terrorist ideology? Anyone? Have you read it in any statement anywhere? Yet the ISIS, who had nothing to do with Islam, tried to hijack Islam. What did every Imam do? What did every Sheikh do? They spoke out against ISIS. They're not part of us. They got nothing to do with us. Islam means submission. Islam means peace. As-Salaam is a quality of Allah Ta'ala. They both have the same root word, Islam, As-Salaam. It means peace and solace and comfort. How could we be of those people? A Muslim means a person who becomes a means of peace for the community. How can they be a terrorist ever? Subhanallah. We need to stand up with the right morale, with the right character. Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa, she's asked by the Sahaba, what was Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's character like? Khuluquhu al-Quran. I mentioned this last week, that his character was the noble Quran. Today, you know, in the Quran, if I'm not mistaken, there's only about 130, 150 places where Allah Ta'ala gives us commands to do specific things. Yeah? Do this, do this, do this, stay away from that wrong. This is haram, this is halal, this is what you must do. Moreover, possibly 8 times more, you find the Quran speaks about character, about how your interaction should be, how your social behavior should be, how your business behavior should be. Yeah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this over and over. So we like to claim that we are the biggest population, Muslims than ever before. But quantity, has it always been something that's good? You go to the fruit and veg shop and you say, I want a nice mango. They say, here's nice one, this is £1, but I've got 10 rotten ones for 50p. Who's going to go for the rotten ones? Today we think, oh, we Muslims are 1 billion. Oh, mashallah, we're 2 billion. Subhanallah, what difference does it make? Rather, what difference should it make is that our qualities are such that people around us can look at us and say, this is what I want to be like. I want to be a Muslim. We had a man coming the other day, Wednesday morning, 2 days ago. He says, I have just a few more questions. I'm on the verge of reading the testimony of faith. He's ready to take the Shahada. He lives here locally. He came to make a generous donation to the food bank. He says, I don't need this money. I've got enough to survive. A man without Iman. And here as Muslims, we're trying to amass wealth. How much more can I have? Another very important thing. How many of you have read that letter from Bob Blackman, MP? One. Anyone else? I want to know because I want to know how informed my community is. Bob Blackman is an MP. He spoke out in Parliament, if I'm not mistaken, and said the Hindus, and search it up, it's on the internet. I'm sure the letter was possibly put on the As-Salaam Brothers group. How many of you are not on the As-Salaam Brothers WhatsApp group? Can I see a show of hands? Everyone is on there? Okay. You're not on there. So most of you are. If you want, please send me a message. My number, if you search the website, please send to website 07999, that's my number. Message me your name, I'll add you on, inshallah. We share information there. Bob Blackman, he speaks in Parliament and he says these Muslims have been terrorizing, or whatever difficulties he spoke about that the Hindus are going through thanks to us. He spoke blatant lies. Blatant lies. In Parliament. He's supposed to be a person that has been elected to look after the welfare of people. But he's also bought off because he's had a lot of funding from the RSS, Hindutva, terrorist ideology. He's been given something like 20,000 pounds. Yeah? Now you ask a Muslim, get into politics, become a councillor, become an MP. No, we can't do that. I want to run my business and make 100k a year. But you want to go through all that stress? Yeah. If we as Muslims don't get involved in politics, then how is the parliament going to understand the needs we have? So when we say that we want to expand this masjid, as we've been asking over 2 years, coming up to 3 years very soon, when we are telling the council our needs are such that we need extra floors added here, and the council just fob us off, no, you don't need it, just cut down your services. This is the last response, or one of the last responses. Cut down your services, you're providing too many services. But if we have our community that are out there working as councillors, working in the council, then you can explain to them, this is the reason why. This is the reason why the Peace Center needs to expand, because they have 5 classrooms in this hall where you are now. 5. That's besides the other classrooms we have. We have 9 classrooms. Some of your children attend here. And then someone comes in, I want to read Salah. 2 days ago, 2 brothers came in, they wanted to read Salah. Now when they come in, we've got no problem, it's a masjid, we have to open it. But now someone has to watch them like a hawk. You know why? Because of safeguarding. Now imagine we had another floor where the madrasa was upstairs, completely independent. Then there could be, people can stay and spend the whole day if they want in the masjid. So if we don't get involved in politics, and obviously don't become a sellout, yeah? You get some people, they go there, yeah, and then now they've hit a different direction. The wind has taken them away from the deen. The intention initially was pure. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to be for the benefit of the community. And then all of a sudden what happens? You end up making sajda to the Queen's coffin. You saw that? How many of you saw that? Huh? Only one person I saw. Anyone else? Did anyone see anyone else making sajda? I saw one Muslim brother make sajda to the coffin. When your submission is supposed to be to only Allah Ta'ala. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if there was ever permission given for anyone to make sajda to another person, it will be the wife to the husband. Some people misinterpreted that and said, I'm the boss, I'm the king. Yeah, but I won't treat you like a queen, I'll treat you like my slave. Astaghfirullah. My brothers, what I'm saying is, we know what we are up against. There is a terrorist ideology. And alhamdulillah, in this country, to a great extent, we are somewhat protected. Those of you, how many of you know about the trouble in India that goes on? The terrorist trouble. How many of you have heard about it at some point in your lives? MashaAllah, a lot of you. Who's there to protect them? Allah Ta'ala. But how is Allah? Why is it there are so many masajid? Uncle Ahmed, how many years have you been in Leicester? 37 years. Dabai? 46. When you first came to this city, were there more than 5-10 masajid? No. Now there are over 100 masajid, musallas, jamaat khanas, salah areas, which means there are much more Muslims. The Peace Center has 2 Jumu'ah salah and we still have one in Scraptoft. And subhanallah, you think there is such a huge amount of Muslims who are worshipping Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala should be listening to us even quicker. Many a times we have to just look at ourselves and ask Allah Ta'ala, Ya Allah, you know, I'm insan, I'm weak. You know, you can speak to Allah in any language you want. You can portray your weaknesses, show Allah Ta'ala your weaknesses and ask Allah Ta'ala for guidance. Ya Allah, make me a firm believer, a true believer, an exemplary believer. Someone that when a non-Muslim has to look at me, they want to take the shahada. But if we're not going to ask for it, we're not going to get it. You don't ask, you don't get. You knock on the door of Allah Ta'ala and you keep on knocking, you keep on begging Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala will never turn you away empty-handed. We need to remove any enmity, hatred, envy that we have within our hearts towards anyone. See how much better you feel. Wallahi al-Azim, sit down, take out time and take out enmity and hatred towards anyone. Think about the people that you don't like. Then ask yourself, am I justified in not liking them and behaving the way I do with them? So my dear brothers, lots of things. I could go on till the second Jumu'ah. We don't have time. There's lots of things to be said. Tomorrow, inshallah, there's a program taking place aims more so for those that are 15 to 25. I'm 25 times 2, but still 25, yeah? So inshallah, tomorrow at the Evington Community Center, inshallah, there's a program taking place. The youth have a lot of questions. And one good thing that came out of all this damal and trouble, the youth want to know, what should we do? Some youth just came out, one lad came out, bichara, he got arrested, he got prosecuted, the poor kid is in prison, or he's got a suspended sentence because he followed social media. So if you have people of that age especially, yeah, we need some volunteers also. There's not much work, I promise you. And there's pizza and chips at the end, which you also don't have to pay for, unless you want to. But the idea is to get the youth together, and we want to listen to them. We have got Moulana Mohammed, Imam of Masjid Umar. We have Moulana Khalil, Imam of Masjid Bukhari. Yeah. And we have people like Brother Shaukat from Mend, who have been working quietly in the background, doing a lot of hard work. I promise you, don't think that people are sleeping and nothing is happening. I promise you, I assure you, yeah, that there is a lot of things happening in the background. Meetings are taking place with the relevant people. It may not be out there in the public domain, but sometimes, if you look at the history and the seerah, and this is the month of Rabiul Awwal, many people look forward to this month, learn about the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and look at how he worked, what were his strategies like, where he spoke certain things openly, where he said, right, okay, we're going in that direction to fight, and then everyone just went this way, because that's where he led them. Yeah. May Allah Ta'ala guide us, protect us. May Allah Ta'ala guide our youth and keep them safe from difficulty and hardship. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us firm on the deen. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa ma alayna illa al-balaghul mubin.
The artists have so much money.
Yes.
No enough money. And the power. They can buy anyone in the whole world. They're using Israeli privacy software. They can
Yes, they're working with Israel. How many of you have seen the articles about that? Huh? I think the second or third richest person is a member of the RSS in the world. Second or third richest person. But you see, the problem is, not the problem, our weakness as human beings is that we feel that money is the end all and be all of everything. We fail to realize, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Ad-du'a'u mukhul ibad." Dua is like the head on a body. You don't know how powerful your dua is. Brothers, you know when you